The morning sky over Sector 7 wasn't blue. It was a shimmering, translucent grid. The atmospheric shield, generated by the fusion towers surrounding the city, filtered the harsh UV radiation of the post-war sun into a pleasant, harmless amber glow. Paul watched the shield ripple from the window of the maglev transport. Below him, the city of New York, or what used to be New York, gleamed like a circuit board. There were no old bricks, no rusting fire escapes. Those had been vaporized in the tactical resets of the 60s. In their place stood towers of self-healing bio-concrete and glass, built by swarms of AI drones in record time. "Citizen Paul," a soothing voice whispered in his ear. It was his internal neurolink, the Annie. "Your cortisol levels are elevated. Would you like a dose of serenity?" "No," Paul thought, dismissing the prompt. "Just tired." He wasn't tired. He was grieving. Paul was 35. He was old enough to have vague, toddler-sized memories of the world before the resets. The smell of gasoline, the sound of chaotic traffic, the feeling of rain that wasn't scheduled by a weather control algorithm. But mostly, he grieved for the truth. He worked at the Ministry of Historical Harmonization. His job title was Data Archivist, but in reality, he was a memory hole operator. His task was to digitize pre-2030 literature and sanitize it for the modern sensitivity. Anything that promoted divisive ideologies, nationalism, individualism, or biblical monotheism was flagged for deletion. The train slid silently into the station. Paul stepped out onto the platform. A massive holographic billboard floated in the atrium, dominating the space. It showed a live feed from Rome. The resolution was perfect. 10 men and women stood in a semicircle. They wore sharp, futuristic suits that hinted at military uniforms. These were the regents of the 10 regions, the administrative zones that now encompassed the face of the earth. In front of them sat a man in white, the pontiff. "Today marks the dawn of the 3rd millennium of peace," the pontiff said. His voice was amplified, echoing off the marble walls of the station. "Technology has rebuilt our bodies, but only spirit can rebuild our souls. The 10 regions are the body, the church is the mind." As Paul watched, the 10 regions knelt in unison. It was a political act, but it looked like worship. "Subject 884, a woman's voice snapped Paul out of his trance. He turned. A peacekeeper drone was hovering at eye level, its red optic scanning his face. "You are impeding the flow of foot traffic. Infraction recorded. 5 credits deducted." Paul felt the buzz on his wrist. His universal wage balance dropped. He kept his head down and moved on. 5 credits. That was his lunch. The archives were cold. Paul sat at his terminal, scrolling through a digital copy of a 20th century history book. He highlighted a paragraph about the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Delete. He typed in the replacement text. Early governance models prioritized chaotic individualism over collective harmony, leading to the resource wars. He sighed, rubbing his temples. He kept his personal, physical Bible hidden in a loose panel behind the ventilation unit in his apartment. It was a dangerous relic. If the Annie detected him reading it, his social credit score would plummet to unemployable. "Paul?" He looked up. It was his supervisor, a man named Jaron, who had fully embraced the new system. Jaron had cybernetic implants in his eyes that glowed faintly blue. "We have a flagged incident in the education sector," Jaron said. "A teacher was caught using unauthorized terminology. We need to scrub her class logs before the audit." "What terminology?" Paul asked. "She referred to the creator as a he and a judge," Jaron sneered. "Instead of the universal spirit. The parents are furious. They're claiming mental abuse." Paul felt a spark of something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope or fear? "I'll handle it," Paul said. The education sector was a series of open-air learning pods surrounded by genetically modified gardens. Paul arrived at Pod 4 just as the disciplinary hearing was ending. A woman was standing before a hologram of the sector administrator. She was young, maybe late 20s, with messy brown hair and a cardigan that looked too organic for this synthetic world. "Citizen Sarah," the hologram boomed. "You have been docked 500 credits. Your teaching license is suspended pending re-education. You are fortunate we do not press criminal charges for hate speech." "I was answering a student's question," Sarah said. Her voice shook, but her chin was high. "The student asked about the origin of the moral law. I told them that objective truth requires an objective lawgiver." "There is no objective truth," the hologram replied smoothly. "There is only the consensus of the 10. Truth is what serves the peace. Dismissed." The hologram vanished. Sarah stood there, her shoulders slumping. She looked at her wrist. Her credit balance was flashing red. She was destitute. Paul waited until the other staff members drifted away, whispering and casting judgment. He walked up to her. "They dock you for the truth here," Paul said quietly, pretending to inspect a datapad. Sarah flinched, looking at him with wide, fearful eyes. "Are you with the ministry?" "I am," Paul said. "I'm here to scrub your logs." Sarah turned away. "Go ahead, erase it. That's what you do, isn't it? Make it all nice and safe." "I have to erase the digital record." Paul stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper. "But I can't erase what's written in the Lamb's book." Sarah froze. She spun around, staring at him. "What did you say?" Paul looked up at the surveillance cameras. They were blind spots in the garden, obscured by the hanging wisteria. He took a risk, a massive one. "Revelation 21:27, Paul whispered. "I saw the broadcast this morning, the 10 kings giving their power to the beast." Sarah's breath hitched. Tears welled in her eyes, not of sadness, but of relief. "I thought I was the only one. I thought everyone else had taken the bait." "There are others," Paul said. "Not many, but we're here." "They're starving us out, Paul," Sarah said, gesturing to her red wristband. "I can't buy food now. 500 credits, that's 2 months of wages." "I have food," Paul said. "My apartment. It's not much. Canned stuff I scavenged from the old zones before they sealed them." "Why?" Sarah asked. "Why would you risk talking to me if they link our profiles?" "Because the soft persecution is over," Paul said, looking up at the shimmering atmospheric shield. "The popes, the AI, the climate mandates. It was all just setting the stage. The hard part is starting." He handed her a small, physical slip of paper, an archaic method of communication that the AI struggled to track. "This is my address. Come after curfew. Take the service tunnels." Sarah took the paper, hiding it in her sleeve. "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm a historian," Paul smiled grimly. "I know how this story ends." That night, Paul sat in his apartment, the blinds drawn. He had deactivated his Ani, claiming a migraine to avoid the biometric monitoring. Sarah sat across from him at the small table. They were eating cold beans from a can. To them, it was a feast. "I saw the schematics at the ministry today," Paul said softly. "New legislation is coming down from Region 1. They're calling it the Oath of Integration. It's not just about credits anymore." "What is it?" Sarah asked. "Total allegiance," Paul said. "To participate in the economy, you won't just need a credit score. You'll need to verbally, spiritually affirm the pontiff as the vicar of the world. And you have to denounce the old myths." Sarah put down her spoon. "The Bible." "Yes." "So we have to leave," Sarah said. "We can't stay in the city." Not yet, Paul said. If we leave now, the drones catch us in the wasteland. We need supplies. We need a map of the dead zones where the AI sensors don't reach. He pulled his Bible from the vent. He opened it to Daniel. The 10 regions are set, Paul read. The little horn is rising. The time of trouble is close, Sarah. But remember what happens after. The stone, Sarah whispered. The stone cut without hands that smashes the image. Outside, a siren wailed. A mechanical voice echoed through the streets of Sector 7. Attention citizens, curfew is in effect. Praise the unity, praise the peace. Paul blew out the candle. Praise the Lord, he whispered in the dark.